ngifisa ukumbona eboshwa. Yabona lento etshalayo. Brigadier Kininda lento etshalayo uzoyivuna. I don't fear anyone, I don't fear you. Now bonke abantu osebenzisana nazo nezikhulu osebenzisana nazo. I'm a man of God, I believe in God. Sizobona ukuthi ubani omkhulu, uNkulunkulu wami nale mali yakho oyisebenzisayo. Wena usebenzisa imali ukuthi uthenga abantu benze yonke lo corruption. Mina ngikhonza uNkulunkulu, ngiza noNkulunkulu waneza nemali yakho. Sobona ukuthi
Hey, turn up. We are back with another video. What we just said there, it is Mr. Sifiso Miyo saying that he wishes that one day Brigadier Kininda could be arrested for his alleged interference in the Mayo case. However, the Mayo case resumes today, and we all know that Ntanzi still understand, and the case against him is mainly based on the disputed confessions that was coerced. Remember that he was tortured before he signed that confession before Kenneth Rapado. And then he had to take another second confession before Umach Electronier because they had forgotten to include certain lies in the first confession. But if you have forgotten about what was contained in that confession, Gabo Gantans, listen to Brigadier Kininda explaining his nonsense. La I spoon feeder to us. Listen to Kininda.
Abakusho kumina ke ikona ke ekwaholela ekuthini ke kube sekunalesi statement ke manje esikhona ke lesi esabhalwa noma esathathwa uyena uKenneth Rapado.
And he was cautioned, my lord, in terms of his constitutional rights. I've dealt with this thing. I just don't want to burden the record by repeating the same thing, my lord. But I did caution him in terms of his constitutional rights when he made a confession, because in essence, he admitted that he was involved. He implicated accused number 1, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, just a minute.
Mase kulokho ke manje ngase ke manje ngimtshela ke futhi ngimxwayisa ke ngamalungelo akhe ke ngoba kulokho ke awayesekukhuluma ke manje ke la wayesevuma khona ke futhi ke esho ke futhi nokubandakanyeka kwakhe ke noma ekhuluma efaka yena ke umangalelo wokuqala, umsolo wokuqala, owesithathu, owesine kanye futhi nowesihlanu.
Further mentioning my recollection, my lord, Mrs. Kelly Kumalo as the trigger point or the person who hired them to kill the deceased.
Ekusho ke nokuthi ke umuntu ke okwawuyena ke oweza ke kubona ke ukukhulumisana nabo ke ukuthi ke babulale umufi kwaba uyena uMiss Kelly Khumalo.
I further recall the vehicle, the mention of a VW Polo being mentioned, my lord, by accused number 2 as the vehicle that was used during the commission of this offense.
Ngiyakhumbula ke esho nokusho ke yena ke umsolo wesibili ke ekhuluma ngemoto ke VW Polo.
Yes.
Esho ukuthi yona ke imoto eyayisetshenziswa ke uma ngabe kwenziwa kona lokho.
I further recall, my lord, that you mentioned that accused 3 was the one with the dreadlocks, and that is the person who fired the shot that killed the deceased.
Ngiyakhumbula esho futhi ke nokuthi ke umsolo wesithathu uyena ke owayena dreadlocks futhi ke uyena ke owadubula ke umufi ukuthi azashona.
He further placed the role, my lord, of each.
Yep, that was the fake confession that was imposed on Mwantans after he was tortured and beaten up by the police. So now they're saying that Mwantans implicated every accused in that confession. It was deliberate by Brigadier Kininda. The police knew that they had no evidence against accused 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So they had to get a confession, and obviously they had Constable Zung. But in the confession, they made sure that they include the name of every accused that is before court, because we know that in the house there were no fingerprints found, so they needed something so that they can have a strong case against these guys. But luckily, the confession is not used against the person that did not confess. So the confession of Ntanzi will not be used against who accused 3, 4, and 5. So those are safe. The ones that I think they're in trouble because of this biased judge, it's Ntanzi and Sibiya because of those fake confessions. But now, if we look at the confession, they are saying that Ntanzi and Ugadla are the one that entered the house. Yet, in the house, there were no sign of fingerprints for Ntanzi as well as Ugadla. And also, the DNA said no, those two are excluded from sample taken from the house. So that's one thing that shows that is why they needed the confession. They needed to back up their lies because they could not put them at the crime scene with science or DNA and so on. So now we're gonna hear Baloy. I think this week he's going to deal much more with that confession and try and. Okay, now I want to show you something about Rata in court. Remember, when Constable Zung was in court, he said they went to fill up at tops once they had finished Uchwala that they were drinking. Now, we know that he's lying about this whole thing, but he forgot to stick to the same lie. At some point, he gave the wrong color of the car that they drove allegedly to go and buy alcohol. He said the car was white, but in the photos that he provided to the court, the car was red. But listen to him, Rata trying to defend Zungu. He said Zungu misspoke instead of saying he lied, because a lie is a lie. So this shows that under the eyes of Rata, no state witnesses tells lie. If they give wrong information, they misspoke instead of saying they are lying. Just listen to Rata and see how biased he is.
It is right that a court sitting and hearing evidence being steeped in the atmosphere of a trial will surmise and it will know and even guess what is the important evidence which is being adduced. I made an example about the fact that Zungu, for instance, misspoke regarding the color of the car which they were driving, which they drove to Tops. He said it was white or whatever. The photograph says it's red. But what's important about that slip is because Zungu on the 29th of June took photographs number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Exhibit SSSS, photographs right within the periphery of Fos Luras. And this is so because the pole there records in the record of Pinky that photographs were taken at Fos Luras. And a cell phone, technologically, it zooms in for effective usage onto the pole which is nearest to it. And the nearest pole there at Basutu Hostel was that pole of Fos Luras. And we can count the telephone calls, we all know them. There was communication across the board from accused number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and vice versa. Everybody was using a cell phone. Using a cell phone at or near and after even the incident.
Yep, that was your favorite judge, Judge Fakazi Rata, saying there Uzungu took photos on the 29th of June, meaning that Usains was shown on the day. So Yabon, this judge is not following evidence. He did not take those photos on the 29th of June because he's saying he took photos of accused 3, 4, and 5 on the day. It means it's a day that Senzo was shot and unalived. Senzo was shot on the 26th of October 2014, not in June. So clearly this judge is not following evidence because it means sometimes when the witnesses are testifying, he sleeps and dozes off for a couple of minutes and misses some evidence. So clearly he's wrong there. Secondly, he's saying Constable Zungu misspoke when he gave the wrong color of the car that they drove when they went to Tops. He's not saying he's lying, he's saying he misspoke. Clearly in his eyes, all state witnesses cannot lie. They misspeak when they give wrong information before court. So it's clear that this judge has concluded that Constable Zungu is telling the truth, despite the fact that into eziningi comes out waqamba amanga ziningi kakhulu. Firstly, uGwabini, he debunked all this thing there. Secondly, he's saying they drove a car to Tops on a Sunday after 5 p.m. And we all know that on the Sundays, Tops will vala Eid. So on the day when Senzo was shot, it was not possible for Constable Zungu and these guys to go and refill at Tops because it was already closed at the time. So Constable Zungu's story is a lie. That's clear. I'm hoping that Ntanzi will put it to Balo and say, your witness, Constable Zungu said we went to Tops after 5 p.m. and we all know that to Tops on Sundays uvala ale. So those are some of the lies that this judge lie by Constable Zungu, which include amanye amanga futhi amaningi, because sizwile nala ethi wafika earlier on the day they ate meat and then they drank alcohol and so on. But the alleged host of that event was Gwabini, and he denies that. He's saying Constable Zungu is lying through his teeth. So now I'm waiting to see Uguti, who will the judge believe? Will he believe uGwabini, Makosonke, and Ubaba Absalom Zungu? Because they're all saying that Constable Zungu lied when he testified in court. Remember that Absalom Zungu said his son told him that he only testified in court because he was promised a promotion within the SAPS. So that's why Constable Zungu is lying about this guy in court, because he was expecting something in return for his testimony. And Absalom Zungu went on to say Brigadier Gininda also promised him a trip overseas as well as money, as long as he come to court and implicate accused 1 and 2. But because Ubaba Absalom Zungu is a man of honor, is a man of integrity, he refused to do that. He put his own son under the bus and said, "My lord, my son is lying." But this judge, I'm waiting to see, okay, what is going to be his attitude, evidence Gwabini, because Gwabini is very crucial in this case, because it is alleged everything happened in his house. So the planning, as well as the concealing of weapons after Senzo was shot and so on, it happened in Zungu's house. But not in Zungu's house, in Gwabini's house. But now I'm hoping that the defense, during this recess, they were able to get hold of all their witnesses to make sure that they come in defense of their clients. Firstly, Warrant Officer Makubo, he's a police officer that opened docket 75. Welo also picks out because Makubo was part of the investigation from the beginning. He was of the view that the people that were in the house lied about everything that happened, and that a shooter was amongst them. That was after he conducted his own investigation and did what we called a crime scene reconstruction, and then realized that there was no intruder in that house. The shooter was amongst the people that were in the house. And based on statements from Lungislope, we all know who shot Usenzo Muyongeputa. Lungislope alleged that on the day that Senzo was shot, he received a phone call from Tumela Madlala telling him that Senzo has been shot at Durula Ulongotwala, allegedly, Ngeputa, when Senzo was trying to separate the fight between Uzandi and Longwe. Unfortunately, the gun went off and then shot him. And then Senzo ultimately lost his life. That is contained in the statement that was deposed by Umlungisi. So that is not hearsay evidence. It is something that came from the witness. So after what Officer Makubo, I hope that the defense will get off that. The defense will get hold of that so that he can come and put it on record, and then he will be cross-examined by Ubalo and so on. I'm sure he's going to try his best to say Umlungisi is lying, but he cannot say he's lying because why so. And Uhlophe is not compromised in this case. He has no reason to lie, unlike Constable Zungu lied because he wanted promotion. But we shall see. After Uhlophe, I'm hoping as well that they can also get Josh Muthelezi. Josh Muthelezi is the one that helped Umakubo when they opened docket 75 to investigate the people that were in the house. We know that for a fact that Josh Muthelezi disputed the evidence, Kabo Zandi, Zungu, as well as the rest, because she believed that the guys in the house are the ones that were ultimately responsible for the death of Senzo Mwenyu. And after Josh Muthelezi, Tanzi, as I've said before, he needs to bring someone that will confirm his alibi. Indeed, on the 26th of October 2014, he was in Nongoma or anywhere in KZN, just to debunk the lies that he was in Gauteng when Senzo was shot. Because if Tanzi does not bring a witness that will confirm his alibi, I think this judge will be very happy, because he is going to say Tanzi was not able to prove which way group on the day that Senzo was shot. So Tanzi must get someone to show which way group on the day Senzo was shot, and then also get those people that were allegedly phoned by the cell phone number that was allegedly kept by Ntanzi in his prison cell. Those people, they must come to court and tell the court that, my lord, yes, I received a phone call from this number, but I did not speak to Ntanzi. I spoke to a Mabena or a Gininda, whoever. So Ntanzi need to bring those witnesses just to debunk the state lies. We know that Ntanzi is telling the truth, but when the defense is taking the case on appeal or on review, those facts should be on record to show that this past judge ignored such evidence that shows that Ntanzi was not in Gauteng on the day that Senzo was shot. And also the court record will also help to show that this judge did not listen to the case properly. As I've said earlier, he said Senzo was shot on the 29th of June, which is a lie. It's not true. So it shows to me that this judge is not focused. He's not listening to all the evidence that is before court. And therefore, if he's not listening to the entire evidence in court, he will not come up to a good decision because he is not well informed. He's not fit for this trial. And thereafter, Untans, once he has brought those witnesses that will confirm his alibi and also debunk those telephone calls, he can also call someone else and expect, because now we were told that Utabang Makeleni identified him from far away, him and Gadla, and expect to tell the court that it was not possible to see Untans in the dark because we were told that Senzo was shot at about 7:30 to 8, and we know that during October, so they can just bring a weather expert to come and just tell the court no, at the time kwakumnyama kwangeke umuntu akwazi ukubona umuntu angichaze kanjalo. I believe that Thabang Makeleni's statement was cooked because we now know that Thabang Makeleni was later poisoned and then he kicked the bucket. So he can no longer come to court because a dead man cannot speak. But his statement, I think, it was fabricated. So to debunk the statement, I think they can call someone that knows the weather, like a climatologist. They can tell the court, my lord, no, it's not possible to see such facial features at night because it was dark. And thereafter, they move over to the case, accused number 3. Yena, I'm waiting to hear ukuthi yini-ke ubaloya nayo except that gun evidence that they're saying it links into the case, because we were told that the gun that shot Senzo Miwa belonged to Ugadla. If indeed it belongs to Ugadla, but Senzo was not shot in 9mm. He was shot with a revolver because that was said by the people that were in the house that said the gun that shot Senzo had a wheel. So abantu abasendlini they totally disagree with Chris Mangena when he says it's a 9mm. They're saying the gun had a wheel. So Mangena tested a wrong gun in court. It's not the same gun that shot Senzo Miyu. And also, let's not forget the bullet jacket that allegedly shot Senzo was found in the crime scene a day after Senzo had died. On a Sunday, the police looked all over the house and could not find the bullets. But on Monday, when they returned, they found the bullet behind a glass jar, right in an open where but by on Monday. So that clearly shows that that bullet jacket or projectile was planted in the crime scene to implicate any other person except those that were in the house. But we shall see because Ntanzi still on the stand, and I'm hoping that Baloyi will wrap up because now he cannot drag this case any longer. We need to move over to docket 75. That is where the Mayor family will find justice. Hopefully, Baloyi this week is going to be done with Ntanzi because he's got no evidence that put him in the crime scene except that fake confession that I played earlier.